It appears that a Pakistani man working as a security guard at numerous illegal migrant hotels has posted videos of guns on what seems to now be deleted social media accounts. On Friday night, this video emerged from what seems to be the inside of the Bell Hotel in Epping. So you can see a protest taking place outside there. It very much seems to be from the inside of the Bell Hotel. It was posted on a social media page, but these videos are also available on that particular man's Snapchat profile, and we can show you some of them now. So look at that. You've got several weapons there, pistols, more kind of semi-automatic weapons, etc., etc. Pretty heavy-duty stuff. There are several posts showing weapons and also wads of cash, as well as numerous different mobile phones. So we can see different amounts of cash there. You've got watches, some of the others show phones. There we go. And underneath those phones, you might be able to make out just the barrel of a weapon as well. And that's the trigger that you're looking at there. Now, initially, it was thought that this man might have been living at the Bell Hotel, but analysis of his social media profile appears to reveal something very, very interesting. And he seems to have initially come to Britain and obtained a degree from what we believe to be a university around the London area. He then seems to have qualified as a security guard, and he's posted numerous photos of himself with walkie-talkies, so we can see them there in different locations, some corporate, some more rural, and I'll come on to that more rural one in just a second, because then he posted a video of himself at the Copthorne Hotel in Effingham in West Sussex. Now, that is a migrant hotel, OK? And he posted a video as well, which I think we can show you, in what is believed to be the grounds of that hotel. That's actually that's the Bell Hotel. So it brings us back to this, doesn't it? This inside the Bell Hotel. There you go. Now, we have reported this to the Home Office. We've also reported it to the company that we think is responsible for security at the Bell Hotel, Supreme Facilities. With that evidence there, that would strongly suggest that there is a man operating as a security guard at two migrant hotels who, on his social media, was publicly displaying various different weapons, wads of cash, multiple mobile phones, all of that stuff. The public are rightly very worried about the illegal migrants in these hotels, potentially being very serious criminals. But what about the security guards? Who are they? Where do they come from? What security checks are done on them? Now, we don't know the full circumstances around these pictures. They don't appear to have been taken in the UK, thankfully. There's no indication he's been carrying weapons here. But we tried to contact him to ask him directly. We are yet to receive a reply. Yeah, he may well argue he's done nothing wrong by posting them. But does anybody else think that it's a little bit concerning that we seem to have a bloke who posed with what looks like AK-47s, wads of cash and numerous different mobile phones in Pakistan, suddenly working as security guards at hotels full of illegal migrants?
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind. The more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
Well, let's get thoughts from my panel on this. We have got the Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, and former Chief of Staff for the Chancellor of the Exchequer, James Price. Carol, I will start with you on this. I want to know what security checks are being carried out on the people who are supposed to be security guards at hotels full of illegal migrants.
Well, clearly not at all, because if you, I mean, not even are there not deep dive security checks. If you can't look at Peru and peruse someone's social media, you're not doing any checks at all. I mean, you can't have people with guns guarding people who might want guns. You know when you were in Calais, you came across people with weapons, you came across people with machetes and knives. Chris Phillips, the Shadow Home Secretary, had exactly the same experience. So you're dealing with guys, and we know hundreds of asylum seekers are criminals, they've been prosecuted, we know that. And a lot of these people could be very dangerous people. And here we have a security guard who appears to be a little bit of a nutter. You're not normal. If you've got a car full of guns and you're showing them off on social media, you're a bit of a lad, you're a bit unstable. And we've got someone who is doing that, showing off with guns, guarding asylum seekers. It's a recipe for carnage, because if he's got guns, he has access to guns.
Well, James, one of the things that this exposes is something that I've actually been banging on about for quite a while, which has been more of a suspicion, but now I think it's confirmed, really, which is that we appear to be importing people from other countries, allowing them to get, from what I can gather, really quite bog standard, some would argue Mickey Mouse degrees at some tin pot establishments at various different places, and then employing them as security guards at hotels full of illegal migrants.
It's obviously a massive operational security problem, this, and the only replacement at this point is lots of more police involved in it, and police numbers have been reduced for too long or already stretched too thin. People go on and on and on, rightly, about illegal immigration. We don't know anything about the people who are coming over. Maybe they're all the next Shakespeare, probably not. Maybe they're all the next Isaac Newton, we can hope. But we don't know anything about these people. We don't know a huge amount about, though, the vastly higher numbers even of, as you say, legal migrants coming into this country. So people in the public think that the numbers are about 70,000 legal migrants a year. It's more like 700,000, 800,000 legal migrants a year. And as you say, they're using the British university system to come in, not get terribly high-quality degrees, if all you end up doing is being a security guard, perhaps, and showing off in other areas. And this is happening, and you'll start hearing voices saying, we need these people coming over to keep these universities alive. We don't need those universities. They don't add anything. No,
and I'm sorry, but the idea that we can't find British people to work as security guards at migrant hotels, Benjamin, I mean, I think you'd have people volunteering.
I'm not sure why you need a degree to become a security guard either, right? I don't see why that's so necessary.
The degree gets him into the country. That's the point.
Right. And I do think, I mean, there is a problem with some universities that appear to offer really dire degrees, but also places like sixth form colleges. We know that people have been coming over and getting loans and grants for those systems, and then they return back to their country and they take the money with them, and then they do the same thing next year. So there's clearly a problem in that being exploited. But, I mean, in this case, it's obviously a security failing and a very serious one, but it could also put the refugees at risk, not just anybody that might protest outside. What I don't want is this fear-mongering that somehow they are all dangerous reprobates, when there are lots of decent, desperate people that we should be proud to help.
There have been hundreds of prosecutions of migrants who are in hotels across the country, and that has been widely reported.
But that shouldn't mean that we don't help the people coming from the most appalling circumstances.
But this security company, Supreme Facilities, which is a misnomer if ever there was one.
Quite.
I mean, it's not hard to check someone out. And how many more people are on their books who are dodgy like this bloke? This guy is dangerous. If you have guns knocking around, and if you're obviously showing off on social media with them, you are not responsible, you're not stable, you're potentially incredibly dangerous. And he could be now selling weapons to migrants who want to cause trouble.
I will just say that these videos appear to be in Pakistan. Right, so there is...
Doesn't matter. If you have a fetish for guns, if you're interested in guns and you have bought guns, that means that if you come to another country, you may well go after guns as well. It's just not safe.
Can I just bring James into this? Because there's a lot of talk, as we've just had right now, and we have most evenings right here on this show, rightly so, because I think it's the biggest issue facing the country, about a lack of security checks of illegal migrants in these hotels, and people like the people of Epping and right up and down the country being very worried about it. But if that bloke has gone through security checks, has potentially got a visa to stay here, has got a degree, and has got a job as a security guard, and it took us 2 minutes to find out imposing with guns and money and all that, well, it makes a mockery of the whole thing, doesn't it?
I think it does. I think the more of a mockery is the fact that about 20 years ago, the government stopped doing the exit checks of who was actually leaving the country. They thought, well, you know, we're in the EU now, we can't really tell, doesn't really matter, let's not bother. So the government doesn't actually know people coming and leaving the country. We don't know how many people are doing that. You ally that to the situation you've been very good at reporting, and then you think as well, what have we had in Europe in the last couple of years? We've had a massive, massive war with tens and tens, hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars and pounds spent on not just big weapons, but on small arms. And I've actually spoken to some people who are familiar with some of the things, the bits of the deep state that you don't want to worry about too much, are worrying about. And small arms, as in guns and things, proliferation is something they're really scared about. It's very easy, a drone, an underwater drone or something, could come up, wash up on a beach somewhere, someone knows where to get it, and suddenly a couple of guns start smuggling around the country. We've seen some examples here. All it takes one then kind of terrifying mass shooting at one of these hotels or somewhere else around the country, and suddenly you have a level of national panic that we don't know what to do with. That's really scary.
What is astonishing, James, is that this guy has just been suspended by Supreme Facilities while they investigate. What's to investigate? The guy's posted pictures with guns. What's to investigate? He should be fired and got rid of.
I mean, thankfully, there are, you know, guns are very rare in this country, and we're one of the safest in the world.
If people are like that, like him, I'm bringing them in.
I think the fact that he's flaunting this on social media, the fact that it was so easy to find, tells you something about how weak the system is, about how free they feel to behave in this threatening, in this crazy way. It's not just the fact that they have a person that looks like they have guns and have those inclinations. It's the fact that they're not scared of the consequences that should really alarm us.
Or they're just very stupid.
It could be both,
not
right?
mutually exclusive.
But look, just think about this logically. What are we doing to our country, James? We've got this illegal immigration free-for-all, hotels full of them, up and down the country, more than we had under the Tories in terms of numbers, slightly fewer hotels. But then we are also importing people to work as their security guards as well. From, in this guy's case, Pakistan, where he appeared to have a penchant for guns and everything. What on earth are we doing to Britain? You've got the illegal side of it, then you've got the legal side of it. Why are we importing all of these people at all?
It's a very, very good question. There isn't a decent answer to it, other than people are worried about being called racist or rude words and things like that. You look at something like the Migration Advisory Committee, even they say it doesn't actually cost that much to get British people to do lots of these jobs, right?
Yes.
A couple of quid more an hour, when you consider that for the most part legal migrants then can bring dependents along, which doesn't get factored into the various bodies that look at this stuff. The cost of housing these people, the cost of their families, elderly relatives who need treatment on the NHS, children, all the rest of it. Then you consider, we're not that far away, it sounds sci-fi, but go and look at the way that robots and things are being developed. We're a couple of years away from having robot butlers that can go and work in the fields, that can stand by and do all these things, all the rest of it. So the arguments that you need huge amounts more immigration to deal with a demographic problem is going to be proven completely wrong, and yet we're stuck with lots and lots of people here from other cultures, not a very British thing to flaunt money, let alone guns, stuck with these people, and we've made no attempt to assimilate them. And unfortunately, the way that the mood has gone now, this could have been averted, I think, in previous years. It's now got so bad that quite a lot of people who thought they were going to be able to stay here are going to have to go.
It also doesn't do anything, Benjamin, for the simmering tensions. I mean, we're going to talk a bit about those at 10 p.m. I think the way that certain protests were policed at the weekend is very, very questionable, to say the least. And we've also got Yvette Cooper's announcement today that appears to be welcoming, throwing her arms around Gaza and also allowing some refugees to work. But when people who are outside, like those protesters there, I think that is the outside of the Bell Hotel, it's the opposite side of it, who are outside there have got concerns, and it's, you know, a bit of a powder keg, really. And then a video emerges of a bloke who appears to be a security guard inside. As someone goes through his social media and it emerges that he's been posing with weapons, how do people expect those people outside to react to that?
But, I mean, look, whatever job this person was doing, it would be a concern. I imagine security guards go from one location to another, so it's not unique to this refugee hotel issue. But I really don't have a great deal of respect for the people protesting outside there, because all too often they're intimidating vulnerable people who are in those hotels, people that have...
vulnerable.
People who... Well, it doesn't look like it, does it? No. But I think, yeah, everyone else might be vulnerable. vulnerable around him.
Did you see the photographs after the judgment on Friday of some of the migrants in the Bell Hotel at the windows, giving the finger to the protesters outside? They didn't look like very vulnerable people to me. They were laughing and jeering and just enjoying the fact that they know they can't be touched.
If they want to...
That makes people angry.
These people are following the rules that we set, and it's not fair to intimidate them when they're in these hotels.
All right, I'm going to go... We sent this to numerous different people, actually, including the Home Office. Certainly we've heard back from them, but we did go to Supreme Facilities, which is the security company responsible for security at that controversial site, which I believe is the Bell Hotel, though I'm not sure about whether... Presumably they are at the Copperthorne one as well. But anyway, their managing director, Andy Lane, spoke to the Daily Express, and he said the officer is an employee of Supreme Facilities Limited and is currently suspended pending a formal investigation. We also reached out to a company called CTM Limited under a contract with the Home Office who managed the hotel. We're awaiting a response. But just quickly, just on that just shows you what a kind of murky world this is, OK? Because you've got ultimately the Home Office making decisions about where they want to house people. Then you've got a hotel company involved. Then you've got maybe one or two different security companies involved. There's layer upon layer upon layer of thing. I do think it is kind of a deliberate attempt to make a lot of it as difficult to trace as possible. That'll be my view. But anyway,